Are you an aspiring leader who knows you have more to offer but you can't seem to get ahead? Do you frequently feel overwhelmed and under-supported? Listen to the Overcome to Become podcast as we talk about actionable tasks and mindsets that you can apply to begin leading yourself. Hi, my name is Angela Buckley, your host and author of the Strength in Nature Leadership Series. I'm a mother, consultant, triathlete, and author. In Overcome to Become, I share with you the science-backed and experience-proven lessons I've learned in my own leadership journey to beat burnout. Thanks for listening.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of Overcome to Become. My name is Angela Buckley. Thank you for joining me today. I am the creator of Creatively Efficient and the author of Strength in Nature Leadership Series. I am super excited to talk to you today about goals, what to do when they just aren't working for you, adjusting and adapting, applying a little bit of flexibility in your leadership journey. So you heard us talking earlier about SMART goals that were specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And if you are a type A personality, that works for you and it's fantastic. However, as a busy professional, as a parent, as a person who wants to give back to their community, we all know that we are likely to maybe say yes to one too many activities. And our goals might be a little bit too big, too grandiose, and too large for us to really understand if they're truly relevant and timely to our life and our lifestyles and the choices that we have to make sometimes in order to care for the people that are in our lives. As parents, professionals, leaders, we understand that we can only control what we can control and influence the things that are around us. We do not control all of the activities that have been happening. Witness COVID in the last 2 years. So what does that really mean for us? And what do goal setting look like? And how do we make that work and still be a positive experience? I am a huge fan of setting goals. I am a huge fan of making your dream translate into action, because otherwise it's nothing more than a dream. You have to have a plan. But what happens when you get there and it wasn't the outcome that you really thought it was going to be? Do you kick yourself and say, well, I should have? Or do you say, wow, I learned a lot on this journey, but it's actually not gotten me where I thought I would go. I need to adjust. You hear me talk frequently about the fact that I love hiking, and one of the challenges of hiking specifically in the Adirondacks in upstate New York is that there are many mountaintops that we need to achieve that do not have paths. It's intentional, and I love that challenge, but I have to say it's a challenging mountain range from time to time, and without the paths being already laid out for you, I have known a few people to get to the wrong mountaintop. What does that mean? You're hiking in this direction and you end up on that direction. You went down a gully that you thought was just a valley and all of a sudden was something else. These things truly happen. And we need to adjust for our own safety. Sometimes we only have a certain amount of time in order to adjust or in order to be safe. One time I was out hiking with my brothers and I do not know how, nobody knows where that miscommunication happened, but one entire food bag did not make it on the trip. 2 young 20-something boys, I guess they were men, but they're my younger brothers, so they always feel like boys to me. They are hungry, and we were hiking, and it was cold at night, and you need energy, and you must eat in order to keep that energy going, and we did not have enough food. That was one problem in our hike. The other problem in the hike was that there was a mountain fire on the next mountain over, and unbeknownst to us, they closed the hiking trail that we were on 3 hours after we entered in. I'm just going to say that we needed to not apply our SMART goals for the week. We had a very rigid plan. We are all very skilled in outdoor hiking, in outdoor safety, and yet this was not going to be our week to attain some of the mountain peaks that we were really heading for. We ended up hiking out. We ended up making sure that everyone was safe. And although we probably had enough calories to get by, we certainly didn't have enough calories to be happy, considering the fact that an entire food bag never made it into the trip. Adjusting is the name of the game in some cases. And in that case, we had to make a very hard decision to leave the wilderness and get back to a safe position for all of us. We did not need to fight with a forest fire. Just for the record, we don't win those things. And we also didn't need to be arguing with each other while we were all hangry in the middle of the mountains, right? What does that mean? And how does that look? Like, we still have that story to tell today because we're all alive and well and kicking, but we didn't achieve what we set out to achieve. And yet, did we? Our achievement usually is that we're having fun together. We're building relationships together. We took fantastic photos. It was a little cold. It was a little rainy. But if you've ever hiked in the Adirondack Mountains, you'll know that that is more par for the course than not. And yet we still were able to laugh. We still came home safely. We all have our families. And so our lives go on. So sometimes what's important about SMART goals is to make sure that we let them go when they don't work for us. And so adjusting and making sure that the SMART goals are maybe in the general direction of where we want to go. And if they don't work out, then we adjust them when we get there. So in this case, our goals on paper sounded like we want to hit peaks 1, 2, and 3. But in reality, our goal was spend time together, spend time in nature, test our bodies. We checked all those boxes. They weren't really on the paper when we said, let's write this down. And yet we did, and we had a great time, and everyone was safe. So understanding when we can throw the goals out and say, we learned anyways. There were lessons to be learned, and we are better people
today than we were yesterday,
is a really important part of leadership journey. Now, can I also look back on the other side and say this hike maybe should have never started given that we were so close to a forest fire? Yes. Could I say, if I know I'm hiking with my brothers ever again like that, we're going to make sure that we have all the food bags in our backpacks? Yes. These are parts of things, but they're also parts of life. So do I have very mundane lessons that I can point to and say I learned? Yes. But also I can say I got to spend 3 and 4 days with my brothers when we knew that our lives were going to be facing changes, relationships and adulthood changes as you move forward. And these are special times that you get to spend. And so we have these stories to share with each other as well that no one will ever be able to take away from us. And I think for us now that that is more of a challenge and more of the directionality of the life that we highlight for ourselves and for each other than I hiked mountain peaks 1, 2, and 3. For the record, we hit 2 of the 3, so it's okay. Adjusting, adapting, knowing when to throw out the goals and learn from the lessons that we had, and then keep moving forward is such an important part of overcoming the overwhelm. Because if we keep forcing ourselves towards a goal that no longer works for us, that is when we start running ourselves into overwhelm. It's when we start running ourselves into burnout. As an endurance athlete, I have seen too many people, too many friends approach what is the real and physical definition of burnout. It's when the stress hormones are on overload and your body is almost no longer responding to them because they have been delivered into your body over and over and over again. It takes months to recover from that, of very focused, dedicated, healing physical activity at a very low heart rate in order to overcome the physical definition of burnout as an endurance athlete. Our goal with Overcome the Overwhelm is to allow you to understand the warning signs to not ever get to that physical level of burnout. Our goal is to talk about the physical limits. Our goal is to talk about the emotional limits, and our goal is to talk about the spiritual limits associated with that. If we continue to force ourselves into a goal that no longer works because life has changed, because our values have changed, because opportunities have changed, then we continue to force ourselves into a situation that will lead us down the path of overwhelm or burnout. By being aware of these signals, we are able to limit overwhelm and adjust and reset the goals so that they work for us and that they align to our personal values. Set your goals, chase them with all the energy that you have. And when you realize that it's not working, stop, readjust, assess, move forward in a different direction, and take value, cherish all the lessons that you learned along the way. Chasing excellence will never hurt you. Burning yourself out by chasing excellence along a path that isn't in line with your values will. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to share with you the lessons that I have learned along my personal journey in overcoming the overwhelm and intentionally developing my leadership skills. I am a PhD student in organizational development with a focus on adult learning theory. I love to share what I've learned, and I love to be where I am right now, and I would love to hear more from you. Thank you so much for listening. Please leave comments and reviews. I greatly appreciate you. Have a good day.
You've just concluded an episode of Overcome to Become, a leadership podcast focusing on leading yourself first. Thanks for listening. I'm Angela Buckley with Creatively Efficient, author of the Strength in Nature Leadership Series. Please help me to continue these series by writing a review wherever you prefer to listen. Thank you for your time and interest. I appreciate your support.